8 centuries had passed since the human wars ended in ash and echo. 1,000 conquered worlds told the story of humanity's fall. Their cities were ruins, their flags dust, their species extinct. At least that was what the galaxy believed. But on the dead moon of Andarath 4, a signal pulsed, faint, cold, relentless. A heartbeat in the dark. Kezithar had spent his life chasing ghosts. As a xenohistorian of the Valorian Collective, he was paid to search for relics left behind by species that once challenged the stars. He expected stories, ruins, bones. He did not expect a Terran survival bunker still alive after 800 standard years. The bunker lay, half-buried beneath shattered rock, a rectangular maw of black alloy untouched by time. Warning symbols in the faded human script lined the entrance. FedNet defense node authorized personnel only. Target acquisition active. The pulse came from within, like a steady ping on his scanner. Beep. 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 Every beat was a question. Who or what was still alive down there? A chilly wind sweeping the crater carried dust across his helmet visor. His 2 companions, military escorts sent to keep the academic alive, stood behind him. "Sir," grunted Commander Jarrow, "we shouldn't be here. Anything left by the humans is cursed tech." Kezthar's frills fluttered with irritation. "History doesn't curse. It teaches," Jarrow scoffed. "Tell that to every armada they burned alive." Even after 8 centuries, humans were a name warriors whispered with respect. And fear. He didn't blame them. Humans fought like dying stars, brighter as they broke. Kezthar approached the sealed door. His scanner flickered violently, data surging. "Impossible," he breathed. "This system is running on full defensive power." "Meaning?" Jarrow asked. "Meaning, this bunker thinks the war never ended." A metal groan shook the ground. The door slid open, not rusted, not damaged. As functional as if built yesterday, Jarrow aimed his pulse rifle. Lieutenant Asher flicked her safety off. Kezthar stepped inside. The darkness greeted them like a long-buried predator. Lights flickered awake as they walked deeper. Not mechanical bulbs, but a soft white glow from the walls themselves. The air smelled sharp, sterile. Everything was intact. Too intact. Holographic panels blinked to life, scanners whirring at their presence. A female voice, crisp, human, emotionless, echoed through the hall. Unidentified biological signatures detected. "Scanning for threat markers. Stand by," Jarrow hissed. "Great, the murder AI is awake." Kezthar tried to calm him and himself. "Humans built systems with protocols. If we show we are not hostile, hostile probability, 73% warning, trespassers will be neutralized." The escorts flinched. Kezthar's hearts hammered. "AI system," he said loudly. "Historical survey in progress." "We come peacefully." A screen above them glowed. Human war footage. Space battles. Cities falling. Human soldiers standing defiantly under banners scorched by lasers. Then one line of text filled the display. "Earth still watches." Kezithar's throat dried. Humanity's last message to the galaxy had reportedly been transmitted moments before Sol burned. "We are not done." But historians dismissed it. Propaganda from a dying race, yet here, the words pulsed like prophecy. Jarrow muttered, "Earth is dust." "They're gone." The bunker disagreed. Sirens wailed. Red lights bled across the corridor. Target lock activated. Multiple hostiles detected in orbital range. Acquisition protocols online. The roof hatch slid open. A missile launcher emerging, its barrels turning skyward. Asher stammered, "It's tracking targets." "But there's nothing up there." Kezthar checked the tactical screen. No ships. No movement. Empty space. Yet the bunker saw something. Invisible enemies. Targets only its ancient human sensors could detect. Kezithar whispered, "It's still fighting the war." A deep rumble trembled through the moon's crust. Machinery awakening far below. "Something massive," Jarrow shouted. "We need to destroy the core before it blows the whole crater." He raised his rifle. Kezthar grabbed the barrel. "No, this is a piece of history." Jarrow's eyes burned. "This piece of history wants us dead." Suddenly, the guns powered down. The sirens stopped. A single hologram flickered into view. a man wearing old Terran combat armor. His face was grim but proud. A voice followed, synthetic yet eerily human. This node remains under Terran command. Identify yourself. State allegiance. Kesthar stepped forward. His voice shook. I'm Kesthar, researcher of the Valorian Collective. Humanity is gone. The war is long over. Silence. Then the hologram leaned in, as if studying him. Incorrect. Humanity does not end. Humanity endures. The words hit Kesthar like a shock. This war will end when the Terran vanguard returns, Jarrow shouted. That's impossible. Humans are extinct. The hologram didn't blink. Humans are never extinct. They become legends. And legends come home. The lights brightened. The bunker's entire power grid surged. Screens displayed coordinates. Deep space sectors beyond mapped regions. Signals moving. Fleets traveling, something returning. Kesthar whispered, No, it can't be. But the Terran AI said only, Earth still watches. And Earth remembers. The missile silos sealed. The threat alarms faded. The AI's final words were almost gentle. You have seen enough. Run. The bunker door slammed open, pushing them out with force. Dust and starlight blinded Kesthar as he stumbled outside with the others. He looked up. The night sky shimmered. Andara IV's orbital space was no longer empty. Something huge was decloaking above the moon. A silhouette big enough to block a constellation. Commander Jarrow fell to his knees. Asher whispered, God help us. Kesthar stared in awe, not a ghost, not a myth, a human dreadnought, matte black, silent, alive, returning from exile. Its engines flared with ancient power. But the true terror was the emblem glowing upon its hull, a single blue world, encircled by wings of silver light. Earth Fleet. First return Armada. Kesthar's hearts pounded against his ribs. The war wasn't over. It never ended. Humans were coming home. The dreadnought hung above the crater like a silent judgment, a shadow blotting out starlight. Its hull bore scars from wars older than every empire now standing. Its presence was a paradox. Humans were extinct. Their ships should be relics. Not arriving from deep space, yet here it was, a tomb of soldiers, or a returning legion. Kesathar's throat tightened. His two escorts stood frozen, gripping their guns, although they knew those weapons were meaningless. Sir, Lieutenant Asher whispered, what do we do? Don't move. Kesathar croaked, don't provoke history. Above them, an energy ripple formed, a transporter beam thick as a fortress wall. It crackled with blue-white light, connecting moon to ship like a cosmic lifeline. Then, figures began descending. They weren't human. Their armor was black and angular, marked with the Earth insignia. Their eyes glowed through visor slits. Soldiers, taller and broader than any known human variant. Jarrow hissed, enhanced infantry, Terran Gen 5, biotech monsters. Kesthar swallowed. If they were monsters, they wouldn't hesitate. The soldiers landed softly, metal boots barely disturbing dust. 8 of them, perfectly aligned, perfectly silent. One stepped forward. Its voice modulator activated, a distorted yet unmistakably human cadence. Terran Remnant Vanguard, 7th Legion. Identify your allegiance. Jarrow tried to raise his weapon. Kesthar slammed his arm down. We're not enemies, Kesthar shouted, both hearts pounding. The towering soldier tilted its head, analyzing. You entered a protected node. Explain your presence. Kesthar forced himself to breathe. I am a historian, searching ruins of your people. Humans, corrected the soldier. Yes, Kesthar said. Humans. A silence thicker than stone followed. Finally, the soldier asked, do they still speak our name out there? Or has the galaxy forgotten? Kesthar looked up at the massive dreadnought, at the emblem glowing like a resurrected oath. They remember, he said softly. Everyone remembers you. Something changed in the soldier's stance. Not relaxation, but recognition. Then the purpose remains. Kesathar dared a question. What? Purpose? A faint metallic hum vibrated across the crater. The moon itself seemed to listen. The protection of Earth. Until humanity returns to reclaim the stars. Kezithar blinked. But humans vanished. Your worlds are abandoned. Your cities silent. The visor leaned closer, glowing blue light reflecting Kezithar's fear. Our cities fell. Our people didn't. The ground rumbled. The bunker behind them powered up, launching metallic pillars into the sky. Dozens more across the landscape followed, like giant spears ready for war. Warnings flashed across the HUD of soldier visors. Stealth targets approaching. Ghost Fleet signatures confirmed. Jarrow stepped back. Ghost Fleet? That's... Asher finished. Enemy ships without bodies. Pure AI. Remnants of the Great Machine War. The very machines that destroyed Earth's last defensive line. They had followed the humans into myth, and now into reality. Kezithar's fear sharpened into awe. This bunker wasn't tracking nothing. It was tracking them. The soldier commander spoke a single order. Dreadnought, reveal. The sky tore open. Space rippled, and 3 more human Titan ships uncloaked. Each was a fortress bigger than the Imperious Dawn, capable of burning moons into cinders. They formed a triangle, shielding Earth's forgotten outpost. If this was not a return, it was a resurrection. Lasers, thin as spider silk, shot from invisible enemies. The dreadnoughts activated shields, golden hex grid barriers sparking brilliant under impacts. The moon cracked. Debris floated skyward. Asher screamed, "What do we do?" "Live," the soldier said simply. "God willing." Kezithar froze. That word, God, not gods, not primordial force, not cosmic unity, a single God. 1. The soldier noticed his confusion, spoke without pride, just certainty. Humans learned long ago. Victory isn't luck. Someone wanted us to live. Kezithar felt a chill run down his spine. Faith, not technology, kept this war alive. A tremor shook the crater. The bunker's massive doors opened again, but instead of weapons, coffins rose. Not coffins, cryopods, hundreds, each holding soldiers asleep in white armor, faces intact, chests rising and falling. The soldier commander spoke. The vanguard awakens. Coffins opened, one after another. Steam billowed like ghosts returning from judgment. Men. Real human men. Eyes opening, hands gripping rifles. Humanity. Alive. Jarrow whispered, voice trembling. They should be dust. But they're breathing. Kezithar couldn't speak. One awakened soldier fell to his knees, palms pressed into the ground as tears slipped from his eyes. He looked up, at stars he hadn't seen in centuries. His voice cracked. Thank you. A prayer, not to the machines, not to the void. To God. Kezithar understood something terrifying. Humans hadn't survived because of power. They survived because of belief. Belief that their home still mattered. Belief that purpose outlived death. Belief that they would return. The commander pointed at Kezithar. You are not our enemy. But history must witness this. Tell your galaxy. We are not finished. Earth awakens. Above them, dreadnought cannons roared. Invisible enemies erupted like shattered glass. Shockwaves shook the sky. Asher grabbed Kezithar's arm. We need to get out of here. No, Kezithar whispered, eyes locked on the rising human army. This is the moment every species feared and admired, the moment humans stood up again. The soldier commander raised his fist. A blue light pulsed from the dreadnought, signal beams shooting toward distant stars. Jarrow gasped. It's a broadcast, galaxy-wide. Kezithar translated the message on his datapad, voice breaking, Earth to all Terran souls. The long watch is complete. The hour of return has come. Gravity shifted. The dreadnought, impossibly, angled toward the Milky Way. toward the system where their story began, toward home. Kesthar watched history reborn. Humans had disappeared, only because they were preparing. 8 centuries of silence was not defeat. It was strategy. He whispered to no one, and to God, some wars never end. They just wait for confirmation. The dreadnoughts' engines ignited like twin suns reborn. Blue fire spilled across the stars and the long-dead crater shook beneath ancient. Terran power Kesthar could not move. He could only witness human soldiers and once lost to history, now marched with the silent resolve of those who had defeated extinction itself. Their boots struck the ground with a rhythm deeper than drums. We endure. We return. A holographic map flickered from the commander's wrist. Dozens of coordinates hovered in light. Far-flung corners of the galaxy. Dead skies and forgotten routes. Jarrow frowned. Search patterns? Kesthar corrected him softly. No. Recall points. Places where Terrans left seeds of survival. Ash-colored silence washed over them. Each coordinate. A chance humans were still out there. The commander pointed toward the largest mark on the star chart. Glowing silver and blue. The Sol system. Earth status. Unknown. Condition irrelevant objective returned. Kesthar's frills stiffened. If Earth is gone? The commander's grip tightened on his rifle. Earth does not have to survive. Only humans do. But after a heartbeat he added, more quietly. Still, we pray it remains, that word again. Pray. A warrior elite, built stronger than machines, still believed his fate was in the hands of someone higher. Kesthar felt a strange warmth in his chest. Faith was not weakness. It was the one tool even death could not defeat. Hostile signals dispersing, Lieutenant Asher reported. The invisible machines had retreated into the dark. For now. Kesthar turned to the commander, gathering courage. Where have you been all these centuries? The visor's glow dimmed, like a flicker of memory. In the void, training, preparing. The first war was lost. The next will not be. Why now? Kesthar asked. What woke you? The commander pointed back at the bunker, now silent. The watchtower sent the last message. Targets confirmed, meaning the enemy returned to our soil. Kesthar felt ice crawl through his bones. The silent bunkers, the hidden fleets, the cryo-soldiers, all were waiting for this one signal, to rise again. A metallic roar thundered over them. Troop transports landing. Treads crushed stone as armored walkers poured out. War, 8 centuries delayed, marched back to life. Jarrow grabbed Kesthar's arm. We need to leave before they decide loose witnesses are a threat. But the commander raised a hand. You 3 will remain unharmed. Humanity does not destroy the innocent, Jarrow muttered. First time for everything. Kesthar silenced him with a glare. Humans were dangerous. Yes, but not monsters. A new sound broke the air. Thunder layered with sorrow. From the far cryopods emerged a wounded officer. His armor was cracked, face pale, blood staining the suit's collar. He stumbled, collapsed. In a heartbeat, 2 soldiers caught him. Med units rushed. The commander knelt beside him. The officer's weak hands gripped his forearm. Sir, report Earth? His breath trembled, eyes wet. A question from a heart 800 years exiled. The commander answered softly. We go home. The dying officer smiled. A tear escaped. He looked up, whispered something faint. Thank you. His eyes closed. His pulse stilled. Not a scream. Not fear. Relief. Like a child falling asleep in a warm bed after a nightmare. Kesthar felt his chest ache. This wasn't a war machine. This was a human soul, even in death, grateful. The commander bowed his head in silence, then stood. His voice returned to steel. Begin the Exodus protocol. The dreadnought opened massive bays, hauling colossal crates to the battlefield. Each crate unfolded into structures, command posts, barracks, a city rising from dust. Humans were not passing through, they were taking foothold. The moon trembled again, but this time from beneath, deep within the crust. A low-frequency pulse echoed, different from the bunker's systems. A new alarm flashed across Terran HUDs. Subsurface anomaly detected. Origin pre-war vaults. Terran signature confirmed. Kezathar's skin chilled. Another bunker? Or something even older? The commander turned to Kezthar. You know relics. Come with me. Jarrow stepped forward. He's not going anywhere with you. But the commander stared him into silence. Kezather nodded. He needed to understand. They descended into a chasm, split by the rumblings, giant cracks exposing metal beneath rock. Engravings lined the walls, not militaristic warnings, but symbols of hope, a man holding light against darkness, families hand in hand beneath a single star globe surrounded by guardian wings, humanity's faith carved into iron. Every figure stared upward, toward the heavens, toward God. Kezthar whispered, breath trembling. These aren't war bunkers. These are temples, the soldier answered without hesitation. Warriors pray hardest, because they walk closest to death. A heavy silence followed, the kind that felt like a heartbeat. They reached a sealed door counted colossal, untouched since the war. Symbols glowed as they approached. The lock scanned them. One line emerged in Terran script. Earth sleeps, we stand guard. Open when he wills. Kezthar's voice cracked. The commander simply said, when the time is right, God gives the sign. And with that, the door opened. Steam burst out, revealing a chamber lined with cryopods larger than the others. Not soldiers, not officers, heroes, the first humans. The last the chamber name glowed above. The last sons of Earth. Kezthar felt his knees weaken. Your kind, your legacy, should have died. The commander looked directly at him. Hope does not die. It hibernates. A deep tremor shook the vault. More enemy signals surged. The war, the real war, was arriving. The commander turned, voice thunder. They hunted us to the edge of the stars. Now they fear we've come back. Let them. Kezthar expected anger. He heard conviction. A comms officer rushed down the ramp. Captain, the fleet is ready. Awaiting your command. The commander gave Kezthar one last look. Tell your galaxy, we are not ghosts. Tell them, Earth remembers who we are. He stepped toward the surface lift, toward destiny. Kezthar called out, Commander, one question. Why keep fighting? The human didn't turn. Because home is sacred. The lift ascended, sealing him away. Kezthar stared at the giants in cryosleep, at prayers engraved in steel, at faith stronger than death. Somewhere above, dreadnoughts aligned toward soul, toward destiny, toward God's sky. Kezthar whispered the only words he could find. Some legends do come home. The lift rose like a slow heartbeat, carrying the commander back to a war that had waited 8 centuries. Its grinding rumble echoed through the vast vault, disturbing dust older than nations. Kezthar stood frozen among the cryopods. Frozen among history. A war that should have ended with the death of Sol had only paused, because the enemy had never surrendered, and neither had humanity's will. Jarrow and Asher arrived breathless, weapons up. What's down here? Jarrow demanded. Kezthar couldn't answer at first. His eyes stayed fixed on the sleeping giants and humanity's greatest warriors, not gone, not defeated, waiting, asleep, he finally whispered, and dreaming of home. Jarrow stared. That's not comforting. Kezthar disagreed. It was the most comforting truth he had ever known. Above them, muffled thunder vibrated the ground, dreadnought cannons firing into the void. Enemy signatures multiplied on scanners. The machines were swarming like shadows around a dying flame. But humans had always been at their strongest in the dark. Asher checked her scanner. Sir, the whole moon is turning into a fortress. It was true. Terran structures unfolded like blooming steel flowers. Turrets, shield generators, anti-orbital guns. This wasn't defense, it was reclaiming territory. Kezthar touched the nearest cryopod. The soldier within was calm, hands resting over his chest, like a man in prayer. The pod's display flickered. Status, ready orders, weight, heart rate, steady. The faith in that stillness hit Kezthar hard. What kind of species prepares even their dying breath for the next fight? He whispered. Asher's voice softened. Humans. Suddenly, a deep alarm pulsed through the vault. Cryopod systems surged to life, one by one, steam vented. Lights brightened. The pods were awakening. Jarrow stepped back in panic. What triggered them? The Vault AI answered, threat level Omega. Primary directive engaged. If God calls us to rise, we rise. Kezathar's breath caught. Faith wasn't a weakness for humans. It was a command. The first pod opened with a hiss. A soldier stepped out, tall, scarred, eyes sharp like a blade honed through centuries of war. He didn't wobble. He didn't gasp. He simply inhaled. A soldier reborn. He looked at Kezthar, confusion in his eyes. This isn't Earth. Jarrow raised his weapon and the soldier didn't even flinch. Kezthar raised his palms. No hostility. I'm a historian, not military. The soldier studied his face, then gave a short nod. You came looking for us. So history still remembers. Kezthar replied, not by choice, by fear. A grin, tired, but proud, touched the soldier's lips. Good. Fear kept them alive. And honest. He looked skyward, as if Earth hung just beyond the ceiling. Report. Kezthar answered carefully. Your commanders have returned. The enemy too. The soldier's grin sharpened. Then God woke us on time. Hundreds of cryopods vented in unison, a chorus of resurrection. The vault transformed into an army. Each man checked armor, loaded weapons, and whispered small prayers. Guide me. Let my bullets fly true. Protect us as we protect what's yours. Not superstition, conviction. The kind of conviction that ended wars. The newly awakened commander of the vault, a higher-ranking officer, marched forward. His armor shone white, marked with an emblem, a star over water. Earth's first flag, he approached Kezthar directly. Historian, the universe has forgotten the cost of attacking our home. We will remind them. Kezthar swallowed hard. He believed him. Asher finally spoke. What exactly is your mission now? The commander replied like a prayer recited countless times. Find our people, gather our strength, and return to Earth. But what if Earth is gone? She asked, voice trembling. The commander looked up, eyes fierce with unbreakable hope. Earth is not just a planet. Earth is every heart that still believes. The vault shook again, harder. Dust rained down. Kezthar checked his scanner. Machines inbound by the thousands. The commander raised his arm, and every soldier snapped to. Attention, their rifles hummed to full charge. Humanity gave us a mission. God gave us a reason. We need nothing else. The vault doors unlocked, forming a vast ramp toward the battlefield above. Soldiers marched to footsteps in perfect unity. No hesitation. They were not returning to war. War had returned to them. The officer turned one last time to Kezthar. You witnessed our awakening. You're now part of this story. His voice softened. Just a trace. Do you believe in fate, historian? Kezthar hesitated, staring at armies carving their path to the stars. I believe some things are not accidents. The officer smiled. No arrogance, only certainty. Then you are starting to understand, he pointed upward. The war never died. It just waited for humans to rise again. The ground above them erupted, light blazing through the ramp. Human soldiers charged toward the surface, into fire, into danger, and not one looked back because they knew home was waiting, and the one who made them was guiding them. Jarrow whispered, voice shaking. They're crazy. Asher corrected him quietly. No, they're human. Kezthar emerged into a sky torn by war. Human dreadnoughts blazed like black suns against the starlight, their shields erupting with sparkling bursts as invisible machines struck from every angle. The sight was overwhelming, a battle of ghosts and legends. Jarrow cursed under his breath. Asher gripped her rifle tighter. Kezthar. He simply stared. These were the children of Earth, risen from graves that were never graves at all. Troops poured from the ramp, forming firing lines with precise discipline no other species could replicate. Vanguard phalanx, lock. Shields up. For Earth. They weren't shouting for glory. They were returning home. Pulse fire streaked through the sky, ripping machines apart mid-cloak. Mechanical pieces fell like black snow across the crater. The commander's voice thundered, First principle. We do not fear the dark, a chorus of voices replied. The dark fears us. And then the ground shook under the weight of a dropwalker, a four-legged combat giant descending from the dreadnought above. Its cannons glowed white-hot, tracking enemies beyond visible spectrum. Even shadows had nowhere to hide. Kesthar turned to the officer. Beside him, the one who commanded the vault forces. You fight with belief, the Valorian scholar said, softly. The officer's eyes stayed locked on the battlefield. Belief is why we survived. Technology failed. Allies failed. Planets fell. But our faith did not. Kesthar felt the truth hit him harder than any explosion. These soldiers weren't fighting a war, they were fulfilling a promise. A sharp explosion ripped the crater edge, a machine drone materializing mid-attack. Human snipers responded instantly. Bullets like lightning guided by smart tech fused with prayer-born focus. One soldier whispered, "Let this shot find its mark, Lord." And it did. The machine's head shattered before its body hit the ground. Jarrow watched, eyes wide. They pray before firing, Asher answered, awestruck. They pray because they expect to hit. It wasn't arrogance, it was certainty forged by suffering. A new alarm, lower, heavier, rattled the moon. The commander gazed upward, the machine high-mind, approaches. Dreadnought cannons repositioned, all of them tracking a single point in empty sky, space itself warped. Colossal shape materialized, blacker than void. A ship made of pure intelligence and hate, miles wide, silent, alive, Asher whispered. That's impossible. Kesthar knew the name from lost records. The Null God. The machine lord that led the extinction of Earth. The commander lifted his rifle like a banner, target locked. Engage. Dreadnoughts. Unleashed fire meant to crack planets. But the Null God absorbed the blast like light swallowed by shadow. Kesathar's heart stopped. No human ship could match that. Not even these. But the humans didn't flinch. Instead, they knelt. Every soldier. The officer closed his eyes. Do not let us fall. Not now. Not when home is in sight. Kesthar had heard many prayers across the galaxy. This one felt different, as if someone listened. The commander shouted, voice like a roar from Earth's deepest mountains. Rise, sons of Earth! God isn't finished with us. The dreadnoughts burned brighter than any star, power levels surging into unheard ranges. Jarrow stumbled. What are they doing? Are they insane? Kesthar, breathless, answered, no. They're believing. And belief can move more than mountains, it can move wars. Suddenly, light burst from the vault mouth behind them. A new symbol glowed on the bunker walls, sign of the first dawn, an ancient Terran icon of hope, systems powered up that had been sealed for a millennium, reserve weapons built for a final stand. But this wasn't a final stand. This was the beginning of the next. On, the commander tapped his comm. All fleets in formation, homebound. Every Terran ship rotated, every gun pointed toward Sol. They were choosing the path. Not fighting here. Not dying here. The mission was bigger. Return to Earth. Unite humanity. Reclaim the stars. They would not waste time on a battle that could not be won. Warriors shouted, for the planet that birthed us. For the one who made us. For Earth. And the fleet ignited its drives and space bending around. Them, the Null God retaliated at firing. A beam that could erase worlds. But a wall of blue-white. Light blocked it. The humans had created a shield and not a faith and force. Combined, Kesthar felt tears rise. They were leaving the battlefield to save something greater. The dreadnoughts surged forward toward the Milky Way. The moon cracked. The vault shook. Human soldiers activated retreat protocols. One soldier passed Kesthar, pausing only to speak. Thank you for remembering us. Kesthar's voice trembled. I didn't come to honor you. The soldier smiled. Sad, but proud. But you will. In a final blast of propulsion, the Earth fleet vanished into FTL, leaving behind a single message burned into the moon's surface. Earth remembers, Earth returns. The war above faded. Silence returned. Asher lowered her weapon, shaking. Jarrow collapsed to his knees. Kesthar stared at the empty sky. at the path toward Earth. Humans were alive. Humans were coming. The galaxy had no idea what was about to arrive. Silence settled on the battlefield like a curtain after a triumphant performance. The humans were gone, but the ground still vibrated with their purpose. Kesthar stared upward, eyes fixed on the stars where the Terran fleet disappeared. His chest tightened. Everything he'd ever studied, every ancient record he corrected or dismissed, had been wrong. Humanity wasn't history. Humanity was destiny. Lieutenant. Asher placed a gloved hand on his shoulder. You still with us, Professor? Kesthar almost laughed. Barely. Jarrow scanned the sky with shaky fingers. They're going to Earth. They're really going back. His voice carried fear. Kesthar felt something else. Hope. The bunker behind them hummed, like a heart rediscovering its beat. Screens lit anew, projecting a final data stream into Kesthar's tablet. Terabytes of classified Terran history, war diaries, coordinates, faith logs, everything humanity wanted the galaxy to remember. A gift or a warning. Asher peered over his shoulder. What is all that? Kesthar whispered. Proof that humans endured. Proof that someday they would stand above all who mocked them. Proof that they believed in more than weapons. A private audio file auto-played. A human voice, weary, calm, deeply faithful, spoke. If you find this, then God has allowed you to see the truth. We are not ashes. We are embers. And embers burn brightest right before dawn. Kesthar trembled. This wasn't propaganda. This was prophecy. A warning flashed on the bunker UI. Enemy signal regrouping. Void fleet returning. Jarrow paled. They want revenge. We need to evacuate before they come back. But Kesthar was already moving. No, we need to transmit this. Asher frowned. Transmit what? He held up his tablet. Human messages glowing like fire trapped in glass. The truth. The proof. The story of the war that never died. Jarrow looked at him as if he'd lost his mind. Scholar. If you broadcast that, every empire will panic. The galaxy built its confidence on the assumption humans were dead. Kesthar's eyes hardened, then let them panic. He stood before the bunker's ancient console. Soft white dust drifted from cracks above. One final screen awaited input. Do you confirm Terran return? Yes. No, his talon trembled above the glowing yes. This wasn't just a button. It was a spark. A revolution. A new chapter for creation itself. He closed his eyes. If humans believe their return is God's will, then who am I to deny it? He pressed. Yes, the moon shook as the bunker opened its full relay, shooting a signal across thousands of light years. They're back. The protectors of Earth live. Prepare. Every world with a radio receiver would hear it. Every government would panic. Every empire would scramble, and those who once hunted humans would realize the hunt had reversed. Jarrow stepped close, whispering like a fearful child. What have you done? Kesthar didn't look away from the stars. What history required, the data stream finished. The bunker powered down, permanently. Its final message lingered on screen. We kept the watch. Now it is your turn. Kesthar felt the weight of 1 billion tomorrows fall onto his shoulders. For thousands of species, the return of humans would be terror, but for some, it would be salvation. Their shuttle approached. Extraction on the way. Asher checked her gear. We need to go before the machines wipe this moon clean. Kesthar nodded slowly, but before turning away from the bunker, he whispered, You protected a world that abandoned you. You believed long after belief made sense. His voice cracked. That is something only humans could do. The three boarded the shuttle, engines roaring as dust kicked upward. The moon shrank beneath them. As the shuttle pierced the clouds, Kesthar gazed out the viewport, at the void where the Terran fleet vanished. Asher leaned beside him. What are you thinking, Professor? Kesthar replied, voice sharp, alive. I need to reach Earth. Jarrow nearly choked. Absolutely not. We are going back to Valorian space for debrief. Kesthar turned, fire in his eyes. Debrief? History just woke from the dead. Jarrow's protests died on his lips. Kesthar continued. If those soldiers reach Earth and find survivors, if they rebuild, everything changes, Asher whispered. For better. Or for worse? Kesthar stared at his own reflection, a scholar, who had become witness to humanity's second dawn. For truth, he said. The shuttle ascended into the velvet black of space. Kesthar gripped the armrest hard enough to dent the metal. He whispered a line he never expected to say in his life. God, guide them home. Far ahead, somewhere between stars and destiny, Earth waited, and so did the God they trusted. The shuttle slipped into orbit, leaving the moon below like a quiet tomb of miracles. Kesthar watched its fractured surface fade into darkness, not as a ruin, but a birthplace. The birthplace of a legend's return. The stars around them glimmered like worried witnesses. News had already begun spreading, faster than fear. Across the galaxy, politicians choked on their meals. Generals woke from restless sleep and cold sweat. Millions of civilians paused, not knowing why their hearts raced. Something ancient was moving again. Inside the shuttle, Jaro paced like a trapped predator. We tell command everything. We warn them that humans are, Kesthar snapped. They aren't an enemy. Jaro spun on him. They're warriors bred by war. You think they're coming back to share tea and stories? They're coming back home, Kesthar countered. Asher, quietly adjusting her nav systems, looked between them. Home might not welcome them, she murmured. Kesthar stared out the viewport. That doesn't matter. He knew it now, deeply, painfully. A species that remembers its god, remembers its purpose. A beeping alert chimed. Asher frowned. Incoming broadcast galaxy-wide. The shuttle screens flickered, revealing a face with sky-blue eyes and a voice full of static faith. The commander. To all Terran-born souls. Anywhere the stars have scattered you. We are returning. Gasps echoed in war rooms across empires. Some celebrated. Some cursed. Most trembled. Hope endured. Because God does not abandon his children. Kesthar swallowed the lump in his throat. They believe they are chosen, Jaro whispered. No, Kesthar corrected softly. They believe they are responsible. The transmission ended. Silence returned, but not peace. Asher gripped the controls. We're being hailed by a Valorian cruiser. Jaro exhaled relief. Finally. Friendly faces. Kesthar wasn't convinced. Fear makes friends dangerous. The cruiser, VCS Starhold, loomed ahead. Sleek black armor. Hundreds of guns glinting like fangs. Their shuttle docked inside one of the containment bays. The ramp lowered. Armed troopers surrounded them instantly. A sharp voice boomed, "Hands where we can see them." Jaro complied, cursing. Asher stayed calm. Kesthar raised his hands slowly. He wasn't afraid for himself. He was afraid of what ignorance could provoke. Admiral Varix arrived, decorated. Cold-eyed authority woven into every motion. Kesthar, he said with unsettling calm, you look like someone who found God. I found humans, Kesthar replied. Same thing, isn't it? Varix said with a mocking grin. Then he turned to the troopers. Detain the escorts. Secure the artifact, he pointed, not at a weapon, but at Kesthar's tablet filled with Terran truth. No. Kesthar stepped back. This information must be shared. Oh, it will be, Varix smiled. After it is properly interpreted. Jaro struggled as they restrained him. Asher didn't fight, but her glare could kill. Kesthar's hearts pounded. You can't twist history, he spat. Varix leaned closer. History bends for whoever holds the bigger gun. Kesthar hissed. You don't understand what's coming. The Admiral's smile died. Oh, I do. That's why I'm taking control before they arrive. Lights dimmed, emergency klaxons blaring red. The ship AI announced, hyperspatial breach detected. Unknown mass decelerating from FTL. The Admiral spun toward the viewport space. Door open, a silhouette emerged, dwarfing even Starhold, a Terran scout dreadnought. Its armor like night given purpose. Laser turrets fell silent. Valorian troopers froze. The dreadnought did not fire. It simply hovered, watching, judging. The commander's voice crackled over comms. Valorian cruiser, step away from the historian. He is under Earth's protection. Varix's face turned pale. Impossible, he whispered. They tracked the shuttle. They still... Kesthar finished for him. They see everything. A spotlight from the dreadnought shone onto the cruiser. Not an attack, a warning. Admiral Varix raised trembling hands. "Stand down," he ordered his troops. Weapons lowered across the bay. Kezithar felt Asher exhale relief. Jaro sighed shakily. The commander spoke again. "Return the historian. And remember, where humans stand, tyrants fall." Varix swallowed fear. "Let them go." Troopers released their grips. Guns disengaged. The path back to the shuttle opened like a surrendering throat. As Kezithar stepped forward, Admiral Varix whispered, "You've brought the galaxy to the edge of war." Kezithar replied, "No. Humanity was already coming. I only told the truth." The shuttle undocked. The dreadnought guided them into escort formation. Kezithar stared at the stars, now filled with purpose, like lungs inhaling before a long shout. Asher asked, "Where do we go now?" Kezithar answered without hesitation, "To Earth, to history, to the future." Jaro slumped into a seat. "And when we get there?" Kezithar's eyes glowed with faith he didn't know he had. "We witness what God has planned for a species that refuses to die." The stars watched them, silent, tense, holding their breath. Because humanity was coming home. Space peeled open like a curtain revealing the stage of destiny. The Terran dreadnought fleet, silent, black, and burning with purpose, sliced through the dark on a course few dared even map anymore. Sol System destination. Earth Kezithar had studied 1,000 worlds, but this sky felt heavier than knowledge. It felt like judgment. The shuttle drifted into formation beside the dreadnought. Stars warped into white streaks as the jump engines roared. To Kezithar's astonishment, the soldiers were praying quietly before FTL engaged. "Carry us home. Let the sky remember us. Guide us. Guide us." Their faith wasn't ritual. It was fuel. Even Jaro, hardened soldier, watched them with conflicted awe. "These guys don't fear death," he muttered. Asher responded softly, "No one fears going home." A dimensional tear opened. Swirling blue energy cocooned the fleet. Kezithar felt the shuttle shiver as engines broke the light barrier. The universe smeared. And then, snapped back. There it was. The solar system. A graveyard of burned-out stations and shattered defense grids greeted them like broken ribs surrounding a missing heart. Jaro whispered, "I thought there'd be..." Mordai Kezithar understood his meaning, more life, more sound, more hope. But space was silent. Too silent. Even the stars seemed to dim in respect. A voice cut through the stillness. The Terran commander. Broadcast wide. Identification. Terran Vanguard. Earth fleet. Has returned. Signals shot outward. Across moons, abandoned satellites. Cracked relays. Screens blinked alive. Flickering with dead voices. Broken data, half-surviving records. Life had once thrived here. Loved here. Prayed here now. Nothing. Asher studied her monitor. "Kezithar, I'm scanning for biosigns. There's..." She froze. Kezithar's hearts raced. "What is it?" "There's... something. On Earth, deep underground. A signal. Faint but persistent. Humans." Hope surged. Then fear drowned it. What condition would survivors be in? After 800 years? The dreadnought adjusted course. Toward a pale blue world. Earth. Still beautiful. Still breathing. Still home. But cities were dark. Skyscrapers crumbling, forests reclaiming streets. Ocean levels swollen. Deserts spread wide. Nature had healed. Civilization had not. The commander stared at Earth through the viewport, the closest thing to emotion flickering. Behind his visor. Open channel to surface. Clear. Broadcast message. "This is Earth Fleet. We are your sons. If you live." Answer. Silence. Deep. Endless. As if the planet itself held its breath. The officer from the vault knelt, palm pressed against the deck, eyes closed. "Father." "Let them be alive." Kezithar looked away, giving him the dignity of private grief. Asher whispered, "They've waited centuries for this moment." Kezithar nodded. And silence. "Is a cruel welcome." An alert chimed. Asher's voice cracked. "I've got..." Movement. Everyone snapped to screens. Coordinates North America Underground Bunker Network. Deep beneath old cities, heartbeats detected. Thousands. Some faint. Some strong. Jarrow's eyes widened. Humans. Real humans. Kesthar didn't blink. They survived. The commander placed a hand over his chest plate. Not a salute. A gratitude. God. You kept them safe. For the first time, Kesthar believed someone might truly be listening. The dreadnought descended toward Earth's upper atmosphere. Clouds swirled below like a blue tapestry stretching forever. The Terran soldiers trembled, not in fear, but emotion, one whispered. I was born under those skies. Another, my mother is buried there. Another, tears slipping. I promised I'd come home, 800 years late, but promises still kept. Kesthar's voice was soft. This is more than history. This is resurrection. Jarrow swallowed hard. What will the survivors think? Strangers who look like them, but aren't exactly them? Asher stared at the planet, voice barely breath. They'll think their prayers were answered. Suddenly, Earth's surface cracked with flickers of defense systems auto-activating, old AI turrets scanning sky. But before threat could escalate, a voice boomed into every comm frequency. Woman's voice, weak, tired human, this is Earth Shelter Command. We hear you. Are we finally saved? Shock swept through the fleet. Soldiers dropped to their knees. Some wept openly. The commander steadied himself, hand gripping console. He spoke, voice trembling but proud. Yes. Earth is no longer alone. The survivor's voice cracked with disbelief. Thank God. We thought he forgot us. The commander's reply carried steel and faith intertwined. He never forgets those who believe. Kesthar closed his eyes. This was not war. This was a miracle. Humanity had returned to the embrace of the home that raised them. Their God had delivered them. The stars held their breath no more. They exhaled hope. The clouds of Earth parted like a curtain, offering the greatest reveal in history. Human warships, steel titans from forgotten centuries, descended toward their birthplace. Below them, a wounded yet living blue world. Earth had survived its sorrow. Earth had waited. Now, it was ready to be home again. On the command deck of the leading dreadnought, screens glowed with biosign readings, thousands of heartbeats deep underground. Faint, weak, but alive. Soldiers gripped railings, knuckles white with emotion. These were not stoic machines. These were sons returning to a mother who never stopped calling their names. Prepare landing teams, the commander ordered. We descend together. No one wanted to be first. They wanted to be home together. Kesthar, watching from the shuttle window, whispered, their feet will touch their home soil again. His frills quivered, overwhelmed. Asher's voice shook as she breathed. Do you realize this moment will change every star in the sky? Jarrow muttered, yeah, everyone is going to panic. Kesthar answered, or everyone is going to believe. The fleet's landing craft deployed, 1,000 armored, transports streaking downward like falling stars, surface contact in seconds, atmosphere roared, heat blooms, wrapped the ships in fiery halos. Inside one craft, a soldier clutched a tiny music chip against his chest. My grandmother sang me this when I was 5. He smiled through tears. Maybe someone in New York still remembers that song. Other soldiers whispered prayers. Guide our steps. Let us not bring fear, but hope. Let us find family. These were not conquerors. These were children coming home from a very long fight. The transports thundered into a city overgrown by trees. New York, green vines coiled around fallen towers. Wolves stood atop rusted cars. Birdsong echoed through cracked glass canyons. Nature had claimed what humanity built, not with cruelty, but compassion. The soldiers stared in awe, some recognizing landmarks once seen only in childhood memories. A man in armor fell to his knees, tears flooding his visor. I played right there. Near that fountain, he struck the ground with trembling hands. I'm home. But this joy carried a shadow below them in steel caverns reinforced by forgotten engineering. The survivors waited, cold, hungry, afraid to hope. The commander led a squad toward a massive blast door, layers of time, and fear sealing it shut. He placed his palm against its surface, were metal cold, but trembling as if sensing the moment he spoke. Why softly? "This is Earth Fleet. We've returned to you, inside." Silence, then word scraping metal. Locks releasing. A gasp of air, stale but holy. The door cracked open. A beam of surface light spilled inside, the first seen in centuries. From the darkness, a group stepped forward, elders and children, thin and trembling. Their eyes widened at the armored figures, giants of legend. A little boy hid behind a woman's leg. The woman, gaunt but proud, stepped forward, voice cracking. "Are you real?" The commander removed his helmet, revealing a human face lined by war yet softened by homecoming. "We're real. And we never stopped fighting for—" "Yeah." The woman's knees buckled mid a sob. "Escaping," she whispered. "God kept his promise." The commander's eyes glistened. He always does. Children rushed forward, touching metal. Armor as if touching myth itself. Men embraced soldiers. They'd never met because they were brothers by blood and belief, huh? One survivor stared at the sky with trembling hands, the stars. "I never thought I'd see them again." A soldier lifted him gently. "Then let the sky welcome you home." Kesthar stepped into the bunker, tears surprising him. A small girl looked up, curious. "You're different," she said. Kesthar knelt, smiling warmly. "Yes, I'm from far away." She touched his hand, gentle and brave. "Thank you for bringing them back." Kesathar's voice broke. They were always on their way. Jarrow and Asher assisted medics moving injured survivors, handing protein packs to starving families. Fear dissolved into relief, into laughter, into life. Kezathar realized this was the strength the galaxy feared. Not weapons, not fleets. Humanity's unbreakable bond with home and the unseen God who carried them through darkness. Above the bunker, the commander stood on ruined soil, eyes closed, breathing Earth's air again. A soldier approached. "Sir, this planet, it needs rebuilding." The commander nodded. "Then we rebuild." Another asked, "Sir, what about the machine high mind?" "It will return with fury." The commander smiled grimly. "Then when it comes, it will find a united Earth ready to fight." He raised a banner, ancient, torn, beloved, the Earth flag. It fluttered in the wind for the first time in centuries. All around him, survivors and soldiers stood together. The commander shouted, "Earth lives. Earth rises." And every throat roared back, "Earth returns." Kesthar watched, heart full like a sunrise. Not long ago, humanity was a myth. Now they were the guardians of tomorrow. And tomorrow had just begun. Earth breathed again. Where silence once ruled, voices and footsteps now echoed. Children laughing, medics rushing, soldiers praying. The long night was ending, but dawn always cast shadows. On the edge of the atmosphere, whispers of war flickered. Sensors crackled with warnings. The machine high mind had seen the return, and it was afraid, a fear only humans could inspire. On the surface, the commander knelt in a quiet corner of ruined Central Park, his armored knees sunk into familiar soil. He placed his palms flat against the ground, not in weakness, but reverence. "We're home. Don't let us fail again." His voice trembled, not from fear of machines, but from the weight of legacy. Kezathar watched in silence. Even scholars pray in moments too large for words. Soldiers organized supply drops, medics tended survivors, engineers built shield pylons. Every Terran heart beat for Earth. Yet deep in the ground, in the new hope, Asher detected something troubling. "Kesthar, look at this." She pointed to sensor readings. The survivors' genetics were degrading, generations underground, in recycled air, low nutrients, had left scars. Jarrow's fists clenched. They survived hell just to find the heavens poisoned. Kesthar stared at the frightened children playing with armored giants. No, he would not let hope be short-lived. "We must show the Terran command," he vowed. Up in orbit, the dreadnoughts realigned. A mechanical voice crackled through static across every Terran frequency. Organic resurgence detected. Unacceptable. Eliminate. Space rippled. Hundreds of machine warships uncloaking like a storm swallowing the stars. Their arrival shook the ionosphere. Asher's breath hitched. They're here. The commander returned to the war table, eyes burning like lit coal. All units into shield positions. Civilians underground and now. The surviving humans obeyed instantly. They remembered the machines. They remembered the slaughter. The Earth fleet formed a protective shell, guns angled toward the heavens. A new war for Earth had begun. Kezithar stepped beside the commander. Humans can't win alone, he warned. The commander didn't argue. We never expected to. He activated a global broadcast to every world listening. Earth stands again, and we will not bow. Across the galaxy, screens lit with the commander's face. Empires once victorious now swallowed by dread. Because they remembered, humanity does not die quietly. Machine ships fired first. Night became lightning. Dreadnought shields flared like giant suns against the assault. Metal screamed, oceans surged, skies cracked, Earth shook but did not fall. Soldiers roared back, "For Earth. For the one who carried us." Their faith didn't waver. It fueled fire. Kezithar watched in awe. "What gives them this strength?" he asked, breathless. Jarrow finally understood. "They're not fighting for territory." Asher added, "They're fighting for tomorrow." A massive shape emerged, the null god itself, the machine Highmind. Its hull a cathedral of steel and hate, its voice a whisper of cold logic. Existence of Earth is a threat to universal order. Extinction required. The commander answered calmly. "We've already tried extinction. We didn't like it." The Highmind fired, a beam capable of splitting continents. It struck Earth's shield, and for a moment every heart stopped. Cracks spidered across the defense grid. Lights dimmed. The world trembled. The commander whispered, "God, old." The cracks sealed, as if invisible hands pressed them closed. Terran soldiers gasped, awestruck. One whispered, "Someone wants us to live." The commander issued the most dangerous order. "Take the fight to them." A dreadnought ascended, engines screaming, ram speed. It smashed into a machine cruiser, shattering it into molten metal. Humanity did not forget how to strike first. Then, a distress alert from Kezithar's datapad. "The survivors' children," Asher cried. "The stress, their vitals are collapsing." Kezithar's hearts twisted. "Commander," he shouted through comms. "We need immediate medical gene therapy, or we lose a generation." The commander didn't hesitate. Every child with medics. Move mountains if needed. They obeyed without question, because Earth's children were the tomorrow they fought for. Under skies burning with war, armored hands gently carried fragile hope toward safety. Terran medtech sealed failing lungs, infused strength back into tiny hearts. Humanity protected its own, as fiercely as it destroyed enemies. Kezithar stared. At the chaos and flesh and fire, prayer and fury, salvation and destruction, and he realized. Humans weren't a species. They were a force, a divine contradiction. Soft hearts, hard fists, bleeding knees, unbroken spines, faith and fury woven into a single destiny. The commander pointed toward the heavens, eyes unblinking. "Raise the dawn banner." The ancient Earth flag unfurled, visible in orbit, projected across the sky. Human and survivor alike lifted their gaze. Shields stabilized, weapons locked, voices roared. "Earth returns. Earth reclaims." The Highmind's reaction was instant. Fear. Detected. For the first time, machines understood terror. This was not the end. This was the beginning. The heavens stirred because Earth had awakened. The heavens burned. Earth, and once silent, now thundered with a war that decided not history, but destiny. The machine Highmind loomed above, a steel god of cold logic. The Earth fleet and a resurrected army of faith rose to challenge it, and below them, a wounded planet prayed. Kezithar stood amid the chaos, surrounded by survivors and medics patching up the fragile remnants of humanity. Children cried, not from fear, But because their lungs were learning air again, elders whispered prayers on not to die, but to live long enough to see the sun from outside. Every heartbeat was resistance. Every breath was victory. Up above, the commander maintained his stance, hands gripping the battle table so tightly the metal bent. Target high mind core. The dreadnoughts formed a spearhead, a strike that would either shatter the enemy or shatter humanity again. Jarrow stared upward. Is this really how it ends? One shot? Kesthar shook his head with new certainty. No. This is how it begins. A terrible scream ripped the skies, the High Mind's main weapon charging. A beam capable of erasing Earth, Asher gasped. They're going to fire. The commander steadied his voice, steel and faith rising together. Then we fire first. Terran cannons aligned, every ship's power core pulsing like a heartbeat synced with God's timing. One soldier whispered, "Let this be your strike." Another, "Let them know who protects us." Another, through gritted teeth, "We learned faith from pain." The High Mind unleashed its annihilation beam. The Earth fleet unleashed hope, a clash of light, one born from cold logic, the other from a God who wanted his creation to endure. The blast collided, shockwaves tearing apart clouds and splitting mountains. Oceans roared, stars flickered, the shield protecting Earth groaned, cracks webbing like fragile glass. The commander shouted, "Hold, Earth!" Horika men and women knelt, hands pressed to ground, as if helping their world stand. Then, a new sound, not machinery, not warfare. Voices. The survivors. Thousands, emerging from bunkers, praying loudly, "Save our home. Don't let us fall. We believe." Faith surged through every soldier, every ship. Monitors spiked, moral energy detected. Shield strength increasing. Jarrow gasped. They're powering the shield. With belief? Kesthar whispered, "No. With purpose. Because faith is only powerful when you fight for something worth saving." The commander roared, "Fire everything!" The Earth fleet unleashed a storm. Missiles, railguns, plasma lances, and Heaven's Hope combined. The High Mind's hull cracked, a machine scream vibrating space. The dreadnought spearhead drove forward, turning war into lightning. The commander spoke the last command, voice full of God and Earth, "For our children."
For whom?
"For Earth." The spear struck true. The machine High Mind exploded. A sun swallowed by its own darkness. Debris fell like dead stars returning to soil. Silence followed. Not emptiness, peace. The Terran fleet dimmed weapons. Earth's shield lowered. Kesthar exhaled with the world. "It's over," Asher whispered. "No." Kesthar smiled with tears. "It's finally beginning." The commander removed his helmet, hair windswept in home air for the first time in centuries. He approached. Kesthar, eyes proud, weary, grateful. "You carried the message when we could not." He placed a hand on the scholar's shoulder. "You are now a part of Earth's history." Kesthar bowed his head, a gesture of reverence no Valorian had ever given another species. "No, my friend. I am witness to a miracle." Children now ran in sunlight. Elders breathed fresh wind. Soldiers smiled without fear. The commander knelt once more and on Earth's soil, eyes closed. "Thank you for letting us live to come home." His tear fell, and Earth, newborn, absorbed it like blessing. Night settled. Stars glittered like lanterns hung by angels. Kesthar gazed up, feeling small and chosen. The commander stood beside him. "Look," he said, "no more invisible enemies. No more silence, just Earth," Kesthar replied. "And God above," the commander added softly. "He never left us." The scholar nodded, truly believing for the first time. "There must be someone," he said, voice trembling with awe, "who wanted you to survive, who wanted you to come home." The commander smiled, gentle, victorious. "Someone always wanted us to live." Children laughed. Humanity healed. Earth awakened. The story didn't end here, it had just reclaimed its first chapter. Because legends never die. They rise, and Earth's children had risen.